good work by staff and the community leaders, have all stepped up to get us where we're at. That's how we're doing what we do with less resources. Our budget priorities, first and foremost, is financial stability. Nothing happens without financial stability. Public safety is always the #1 priority. Maintaining service levels and hours of operation is critical. Partnering with the community to maintain our events. Those are critical. They're not just for fun. When you go, I challenge anyone, when you go down on Thursday night to Farmers Market, whether you like the Boulevard or not, and believe me, most people, the vast majority, like the Boulevard, look at the sense of community that you see there. That's what's important. That happens because we have community partners that stepped up. Example here is Toyota, their Toyota concert series. Because of that, there's music there. That's a business that stepped up so that we can have those events that are important to the community. We talked about pursuing new business ventures. Want to make certain economic development is still a priority for this community. Just because the state took away redevelopment doesn't mean we don't need jobs, retail. We need it more than ever. But we're looking at this as an opportunity to focus our economic development efforts and not be shackled by some of the things we had to do for redevelopment. We can focus on what needs to be done with this community. I talked about this budget will program and operate new facilities, MOA, and it begins to address deferred maintenance both by investment and over the next several months. Robert and his staff are doing an excellent job of looking at different ways to maintain roads and facilities that we can get more out of the dollars we have. So that's sort of the overview of the budget. I'm going to turn it over to Barbara to go over some of the numbers and highlights, and then we're available for any questions you might have.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and authority members. It's my pleasure again to present to you our proposed budget for the next fiscal year, 2012-13, if you can believe that. As the city manager mentioned, it does appear that we believe that we've seen the bottom of the economic downturn. We're projecting sales tax to be up 9% from the current fiscal year, property tax related revenues to be up 2% from this year. But we still have a long way to go to get back to where we were. To give you some perspective, our sales tax revenues, while we're projecting them to be up 9%, they're still down 6% from the peak. Property tax revenues are down 27% from where they were in 07-08. Now, those are based on our assessed valuation. So how long do you think it's going to take each of us to see a 27% gain in the value of our property? That's how long it's going to take the city to get back where they were on property tax related revenues. It's going to be quite some time. We project general fund reserves to be at approximately $7 million, or 16% of our budget. That's down from 5 years ago. But we should be really proud of the fact that when we started the economic downturn, actually before we started, we had the foresight to put money away. We didn't budget to the maximum amount of revenue stream that we had. We knew at some point the economy is going to turn down, and we're going to need some money set aside to help get us through. And we did just that. As things improve, we have to keep in mind that it's going to be important to replenish those reserves. Because again, 8-9 years down the road, we're going to see another downturn. We're going to want that nest egg. We're going to want to have the ability to have that money there so that we can make strategic changes in the budget that gives us some time so that we're not making knee-jerk reaction and having to lay off people or cut services, at a short notice. Our budget, as the city manager mentioned, our budget does absorb the economic development function as well as the housing functions that were previously funded through the redevelopment agency. Our proposed budget for all funds, general fund and other special revenue funds, is proposed at $110 million. That's down 18% from the 11-12 adjusted budget. The change is primarily due to the funding changes in economic development and housing. We have, on the general fund side, we're proposing expenditures at nearly $56 million. That's almost exactly the same amount as we had in 11-12. We are proposing that we balance the budget with $100,000 allocation from reserves, but essentially that is a balanced budget. The dissolution of redevelopment did not just impact the redevelopment agency. It impacted the general fund and the citizens as a whole. Our city lost $50 million of gross tax increment. The general fund lost a direct revenue of $500,000. And with the stroke of a pen, the state eliminated $75 million of debt that was owed to the city by the redevelopment agency. Included in the budget is our capital improvement program, which is we have proposed $18 million in new funds. None of that money comes from the general fund. It's all special revenue funds or funds that are specific for the project that they're proposed for. The program addresses road maintenance needs, bikeways,
Amanda, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioners Catherine Carlson,
Present.
Amanda Haas,
Present.
Andrew Mercy, absent, Timothy Wiley,
Present.
Vice Chairman Russell Bartlett, absent, Chairperson April Bartlett.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Public business from the floor. If an individual is unable to stay through the entire meeting due to extenuating circumstances, a total of 10 minutes is provided at this time, during which input may be given regarding agenda items. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Any person who would like to address the Architectural and Design Commission on any agendized item is requested to complete a speaker card for the recording secretary and identify the agenda item you would like to discuss. Each person will be given an opportunity to address the Architectural and Design Commission at the time such item is discussed by the Architectural and Design Commission. Speaker cards available at the entrance of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Are there any questions about the minutes? I move that we approve the minutes from the meeting of August 2nd, 2012.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And motion passes 4-0. Continued business, discussion of the Southeast Transit Village Vision Plan. Wow, say that 3 times fast. Elma, is that you? Okay.
There, thank you so much. As you know, back in the end of July, we had a public workshop. And as a result of that July 28th workshop, some of the attendees wanted to have a further discussion regarding the vision plan. And so this last week, Wednesday, on the 5th, we had a meeting with this ad hoc group. And this group was comprised of business owners and property owners that work and live in the Southeast Transit area. This was a good discussion. I think it went well, and staff believes that it was very beneficial for all those that participated and that were involved in that process. This week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have our consultant, Sergeant Town Planning, that is in City Hall working on an internal charrette, which is a very intense and focused design workshop with staff. And what they're doing are preparing solutions and different design ideas for this planning area. Some of the topics that they've been covering have been the multimodal facility, a circulation plan that includes design, street standards, connections to the surrounding neighborhoods, looking at bike paths, traffic calming measures, and different ways for the vehicles and or pedestrians to cross over the train tracks or go under the train tracks. They've also been looking at the open space network that includes the reshaping of the drainage, storm drainage, or possibly relocating of that drainage basin. They've also been looking at land use scenarios and different development potentials within that area. They're also looking at different ways to accommodate the California high-speed rail alignment if it comes through Lancaster. And then the other thing they've been looking at is public improvement funding strategies as well, because we don't want to just have a plan sit on a shelf. We want to be able to enact the ideas that come out of this plan. So a couple of things that are coming up. We have an event that's going to be the final community workshop. That's going to be on September 24th. It's a Monday. Sergeant Town Planning will also facilitate that meeting as well. And some of the things that they're going to be talking at that meeting is to continue rethinking about the Metrolink station as a pedestrian-oriented multimodal transfer facility, to establish better pedestrian, bicycle, and bus connections for the Metrolink station, to continue to introduce development in the plan area, and also to look at the options for accommodating the high-speed rail. So that's going to be, once again, on Monday, September 24th. It's going to be 6:30 to 8:30. It's here at City Hall in the EOC. Another thing that's going to be coming up is going to be, instead of your October ADC meeting being on October 4th, that is going to be moved and be held on Monday, October 8th at 6:30 in the EOC. And that's going to be a joint Planning Commission and ADC workshop in which the team is going to present the preliminary vision plan in a PowerPoint presentation. That's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Do we need to make a motion to approve that move of the meeting? No? Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? So there's no questions, commissioners? Anyone? No? Okay. Thank you, Elma. Continued business, or public business from the floor, non-agendized items. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the commission on any subject regarding city business. Under state legislation, no action can be taken on non-agenda items. Members of the public should be aware of this when addressing the commission regarding items not specifically referenced on the agenda. Please complete a speaker card for the recording secretary. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. So this meeting is adjourned to Monday, October 8th, 2012 for the Planning Commission / Architectural and Design Commission Joint Southeast Transit Village Planning Area special meeting at 6:30 p.m. in the Emergency Operations Center at Lancaster City Hall. Meeting adjourned.